Hi, my name is Annie De Silva from local music projects Code, Dear Friend, and Taylor. I hope you are all staying safe and healthy. Thank you for taking part in Music Calgary's Sound Off Summit, Digital Strategies, taking place online from Mokinstis in the Treaty 7 territories of Southern Alberta. Before we begin, it's important to acknowledge that we live, work, and play on the traditional territories of the Blackfoot Confederacy, Siksika, Kainai, Piikani, Tsuut'ina, the Stoney Nakoda Nations, Métis Nation Region 3, and all people who make their homes on the Treaty 7 region. For future events, make sure to follow Music Calgary on all socials and sign up as a member on the website for future programming updates. Now the moment we have all been waiting for, a presentation on music rights and royalties with Sébastien Charest.
Hi everybody, my name is Sébastien Charest. I will be your host for this webinar about Rights Manager Maximize Your Income from Rights Society. So as mentioned by Music Calgary, so this webinar is not a 101 about rights management. You already have some meeting this week with staff from SOCAN, Connect, MROC, AFTRA RACs. So I'm not going to talk about registered with Rights Society or how to register your work to Rights Society. This webinar will be more about how to maximize your income. Is there any option given by the online account from each Rights Society that can help you maximize your revenue or simply help Rights Society to collect your royalty? So let's start with the first one, SOCAN. So let's go with that PowerPoint. So first of all, for SOCAN, so remember that SOCAN represented songwriters and publishers, but the data SOCAN receive from the radio station are with the track title and the performers. So anytime you can help SOCAN by giving SOCAN the performers on the track will so much help her to claim the royalty. So you add in front of you the dashboard when you submit a track. So you see on your right the field for the performers. So please put there the artist name. If you're not have a career under your birth name, if you perform as a group, don't put the name of the members of the band, but more the band. So please put Nickelback and not Chad Kroeger in that field. If the song is already submitted to SOCAN and there's someone else who's doing a cover of your song, or if you change your artist name during your career, so here what to do. So you go to my catalog, my music catalog, you click on the song you want to add another performer, and right under the key there's the button modify. So you click on it, you can now add a new performer on the track, and you will submit the query to SOCAN. SOCAN will process it, and the new performer will be added to your account. Another thing you can do with SOCAN online account, it'll make some search in the unidentified work list. So even if you did all you can do by submitting the right data to SOCAN, SOCAN could maybe not be able to match any data she received from its member with the data she received from radio. So data put all the unmatches, the unidentified work into a specific section on his website and ask for your help to be able to match it. So you go to, first of all, you log to your SOCAN account. You go to SOCAN performances and repertoire, unidentified performances, and the second one on your right will be unidentified work list. You will see this dashboard appear to make some search into SOCAN database. So here's some tips for you. I would suggest you to choose all in performance year instead of a specific years. So you will know all the track from SOCAN database. Also, for name, instead of using begins with, I will suggest you to select contain instead. So make sure that if there any mistake at the beginning of your artist name, you will be able to see more tracks. And I will also suggest you to type only a part of your artist name in name. If, for example, the reason why SOCAN was not able to match your track with the data from the radio is because there was maybe a mistake somewhere on your artist name from the radio. So by putting only a part of your artist name, that will help you to see that information. So I make some tests with by putting arcade in the name section. For example, if I'm the publisher of a songwriter from Arcade Fire repertoire. So you see here all the track with arcade in the name section where SOCAN was not able to match it with its database. So for example, let's say that I'm a co-writer of the track ARTISTI by Arcade Fire. So I see that there's the second one. There's a track unmatched by SOCAN that I want to be matched with one of my song in my catalog. So if you see one of your work in the list, you click on the L, the letter L next to it. You will be transferred to the dashboard to match with your catalog. So there's three possibilities. The first one, you can put the SOCAN work numbers in your catalog. For example, you maybe have previously downloaded your SOCAN catalog in an Excel document. So there's all the work number from that you can copy paste there. You can also put the title of the song in search title, or you can also click directly on submit search catalog without having put anything before. You will be transferred into your catalog. You simply find your song, you click on it, and the information to SOCAN will be submitted, and they will process it, and the royalty will be distributed to you in a future distribution. You can also make some research in My Common Shareholders. So for those of you who already have submit work with SOCAN, know that you have to submit 100% of the song. You cannot, for example, submit only 25% saying that the other 75% will be made by someone else. So you have to submit the entire key. So when you submit tracks, a key to SOCAN, you need to know the SOCAN members number or the IPI of all the other shareholders. But let's say, for example, you co-wrote a song with Chad Van Galen, but you don't have his SOCAN numbers or his IPI. And when you make a research into SOCAN database, you're not able to find Chad Van Galen. So some people will submit the song to SOCAN, but when it will be time to say that Chad Van Galen has the other 75% on the track, they will tell SOCAN that Chad Van Galen doesn't exist or is not a SOCAN member. So it will be, I'd say, created as a not affiliated in the SOCAN database. So that track will never appear into Chad Van Galen SOCAN account until someone makes some search in the SOCAN database and see that there's a Chad Van Galen unaffiliated that should be affiliated to my Chad Van Galen account. It will be clearer when you will see it. So let's go now. So you go on My Catalog, My Common Shareholder. There you will have the possibility to do a search with the first name, the middle name, or the last name. typing at least one letter in the last name field. So I make a test by typing Patrick for the first name and Watson as the last name. So you will see all the Patrick Watson listed in the SOCAN database. You will see that there's one a SOCAN member based in Montreal. So that's the one we probably already know about. There's also one in another SOCAN member based in Kelowna. There's other Patrick Watson members of PRS, so that's the SOCAN in the UK. There's also some Patrick Watson from BMI and ASCAP, that's the SOCAN in the US. But you see probably in the middle of the list that there's two Patrick Watson not affiliated. So it means that those Patrick Watson appears in some keys, but they are not linked to any Patrick Watson in SOCAN database. So if I'm, for example, the publishers of the well-known Patrick Watson, there may be some song missing that I should be the publisher. They should be appear in my catalog and Patrick Watson catalog. So what I would suggest you is contact SOCAN and ask them for these Patrick Watson. You send them the IPI and you inform that you see in the My Common Shareholder section that there was two Patrick Watson not affiliated. You ask them, is there any track in those Patrick Watson repertoire? You ask them the title of the track, and you can also ask the other shareholder on this key to help you identify is there the possibility that there are your Patrick Watson, and if it's the case, you ask SOCAN to connect these Patrick Watson with your own catalog. Yeah, last thing to mention about SOCAN is the concert with no setlist section. So remember, back in the days, there was live performances in real venues or festival. That was not, and this is not the case a lot since the pandemic. But you know, as a publisher of a song or a songwriter, that's your responsibility to submit the setlist to SOCAN. And SOCAN after that wait for the payment of the license by the festival, the venue, or the promoter. And after that, SOCAN is able to take the money from the venue, distribute it to all the songwriters that were for those the song were performing during the concert. But sometimes the venue is faster than yourself. So the venue already paid its license to SOCAN, but SOCAN is not able to distribute that money because SOCAN never received the set list. So all of those concerts are listed in the concert with no set list section. So you can find that section in SOCAN performance and repertoire, unidentified performances, and the last one is concert with no set list. So you click on that section, you will arrive in front of that dashboard. So some tips from you. I suggest you to choose contain in performer instead of begin with for the same reason I mentioned you earlier. And also type only a part of your artist name in performer in case the venue made some mistake in the data they send to SOCAN. So let's see the result after putting barber in the performer field. So the list is usually in chronological order. So I suggest you to click on the triangle next to performer to list the concert by alphabetic order. So all the shows from Jill Barber will be put together the same as Matt Barber. It will be so much easier to identify is there any concert from your artist listed in this section. So if you see one of your artist name, you click on it and SOCAN will ask you to provide it provide them the following information. So the status, so were you the headlining act, an headlining act with no support, the supporting act, a co-headlining act. You name the other act on the show if applicable, the total numbers of work performed during the shows, the time of performances, of your performances, and the list of work, the original song, and also is there any covers performed during the show. After that, SOCAN will be able to process the concert, the information received about the concert, and the money will be distributed to you. After that, regarding SOCAN, so as you know, SOCAN are paying the publisher and the songwriter directly, but there are also other rights society or agency in Canada that represent songwriters and publishers. So some of you may know CMRRA or SODRAC. So CMRRA is based in Toronto. SODRAC is based in Montreal. SODRAC has now been bought by SOCAN and it's now rebranded as SOCAN RR. So the reason why there are also CMRRA SOCAN RR is the nature of, or let's say not maybe the nature, but the use of your work. So SOCAN is pay you for when your song is performed live or by communication to public by telecommunication, so which means radio, TV, streaming, live performances. But your work can also be reproduced on something. Let's talk about physical copy of your album. When the song was reproduced on an album, so the label has to pay a reproducing license, or what we call a mechanical license, for the fact that they need your work to transfer a blank CD as a musical CD or as a CD with music. So that's also the case for download. A part of the money from the streaming, the radio also. So back in the days, the DJ took the CD, put it in the player, press play, and after the song has been played, take it off and put it back in the music library. Now, radio music libraries are all put in a computer. So your song has been reproduced on the computer. So CMRRA and SOCAN RR get money from the radio because your song has been reproduced. So you have to register with CMRRA or SOCAN RR if you want to collect more royalty as publisher or songwriter. The differences between SOCAN, as I said, SOCAN pay the publishers and the songwriter directly, but when it's time for reproduction rights, CMRRA and SOCAN RR are only dealing with the owner of the song, which means that if there's a publisher, CMRRA and SOCAN RR will give the money to the publisher, and that's the responsibility of the publisher to distribute the money to the songwriter. If there's no publisher, so that's the responsibility of each songwriter to submit the repertoire to CMRRA or SOCAN RR to claim to receive these extra royalty. So I think most of you are already registered with CMRRA. So let's talk about the CMRRA online account. So there's a interesting section on their website when they put all of the unclaimed work from all the data CMRRA received from the online music services. So let's mention iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, Deezer. All the data that she was not able to match are listed there. So they ask for your help to be able to match that data. So you go, so you have the unclaimed work, online music services. So you arrive in front of this dashboard. So You can do a search using the recording title field when you know one of your songs has been covered by other performers. But if that's not the case, you can do a search by artist if you want the full list of his or her catalog. So let's see the result after putting Pierre Quenders in artist field. So you see that the first tracks has already been linked to a CMRRA except yours. So you see that if I click on view work info, you will see that someone has already been claimed the track. That's normal. Pierre Quenders has one publisher for the first album. For the newest, there's another one. So the first track are from the first album. So that's why they are listed in front of me, even if is CMRRA members. But I realized by making this webinar, this presentation, that there was some track not already linked to a CMRRA catalog that are from the newest album. So I realized that I didn't do my job correctly before. So that's why the reason exists on CMRRA website. So Duke Saga is a new song from CMRRA. I'm representing the publisher and this track should be added into his account. So when you see that kind of data, you click on link to work. So there's a page that's gonna open in front of you. And if that's the case, so after seeing that information, you want to inform CMRRA that this track should be linked into your account. You swipe the toggle to link the track to your catalog. CMRRA will receive that information that you want to match this unclaimed work with one of your track, and it will be processed. And after that, the money will be distributed to you. Now let's talk about the performer's rights. So when your performances are fixed on a sound recording, there's also royalty for you when the song is played on the radio. So there's 4 rights society in Canada that could represent your performance rights. There's MROC, AFM-SAG-AFTRA, ARTISTI, and Resound. So there's not a lot of possibility into each other account. So I will not go through each online account, but I would like to talk to you about the importance of locking your credits. What do I mean by locking the credits on sound recording? So in Canada and the rest of the world, you don't negotiate with the other performers on the track what will be the percent you're going to receive after a radio airplay. So in Canada, the split is already decided. So there's 80% that will be given to all featured artists on a sound recording, and that 80% will be split equally between all the featured artists. And there's 20% giving to all non-featured artists, backup singers, and session musicians on a sound recording, and that 20% will be split equally between everybody. So even if, for example, MROC already know that you play drum on a track, maybe you never receive that money, because if MROC doesn't know how many people played on the track as non-featured artists, MROC doesn't know how to cut the 20%. So they know that there's money from you as drummer, but were you the only non-featured artist? Is there a quartet, a string quartet? Is there any other people? So if you see on your online account that your name is listed as featured artist or non-featured artist, but you know that some names are missing, I would suggest you to submit that information to MROC, AFM-SAG-AFTRA, ARTISTI, and Resound. So now that they will get the full lineup from you, they will be able to distribute your share on the track. So it's really important to lock the credit on the sound recording. Let's talk now about Connect. So Connect is a rights society that represents the owner of sound recording. So there's Connect in Toronto, based in Toronto. There's also SOPROQ based in Montreal. I guess most of you are with Connect, so I will only focus my presentation about Connect. So there's a section in your Connect account called repertoire and unidentified repertoire title. So there, all the repertoire that has not been matched into any Connect account is listed there. So I make some tests by putting the Wicker Den in the main artist field. So the result, there are 4 tracks that has been claimed by anybody. So 2 audio track and 2 video tracks. So don't forget that Connect also represent the owner of the video recording. So if I'm the label of the Wicker Den, and I realized that, oh, I own these tracks and it should be added into my account. So I just check the box next to it. I click on add. After that, you click on details and a window will pop up in front of you. So you will recognize all the information that you filled, that you fill out when you submit the track for the first time. So you submit the same information for an unidentified repertoire track. And as you may guess, Connect will process it, will check if there is is there any conflict, and the track will be added to your account and the money will be distributed to you. There's also some conflict sometimes on some track. For example, more than one person claim a track and there will be an overlapping claim, which means the 2 people or the 2 companies that claiming the track ask for more than 100%. So Connect will stop claiming the royalty when that happens, and until joy happen again around the sound recording. So sometimes to double check in the conflict is if any of your track are in that situation, and if that the case, just contact Connect to see how the problem can be resolved to make sure that money will be distributed again. I know that some of you registered with these rights society for a worldwide mandate, but now more and more artists or label decide to register, in fact, not to register, first to opt out United States from Connect or MROC or ACTRA RACS mandatory to register directly in the US, especially because satellite radio in the US is really popular, and there's a lot of money by having one of his tracks played on satellite radio in the US. So some people will prefer to claim directly from the Rights Society in the US to receive their money more faster. So I'm going to talk about these Rights Society. Let mention that I will repeat it. If you already a Connect member or MROC or ACTRA RACS for a worldwide mandatory, you don't need to register directly with the Rights Society in the US. There will be an overlapping claim between your direct membership in the US and the mandatory you already gave to your Rights Society in Canada. So what I will talk in the next few minutes only apply to those who opt out United States from their membership in Canada. In their worldwide membership, from the Right Society based in Canada. So you probably heard about SoundExchange. So SoundExchange is a Right Society that represents the sound recording owner and the featured artist, the featured performer artist on the track. So some of my clients asked me when they make some research into the SoundExchange database why there was tracks that appear twice. So I have the answer for you. So if you make that search in SoundExchange database, so you click on My Catalog, Search and Claim. After that, if you're an artist, you click under Claim. You click on Claim under Claim as an artist. If you're a SoundExchange member as a rights owner, you click under your name. You click on your name under that second column. After that, you click on Search for Recording, and you arrive into the SoundExchange database. So the spirit of SoundExchange is the sound recording owner submit the data first. SoundExchange add that data into its database, and after that, the featured artists claim their share in the database. So the first data that arrived to SoundExchange should be from the sound recording owner, and the ID that will be created from each master recording is a X62. So a X62 under the SXID column is the ID created by SoundExchange when the sound recording is submitted by one of its members. But at the same time, SoundExchange also received data from SiriusXM, the satellite radio. So when they proceed all the data the SoundExchange received from SiriusXM, they try to match it with the data they already received from the master owner. But sometimes the data will arrive to SoundExchange by the satellite radio first and not by the sound recording order. So SoundExchange has to add that track into its database. So that's a SX3. That's an ID created by SoundExchange when nobody has submitted the sound recording when matching the data from service providers. So usually when there's a SX3, probably the label, not the label, but the sound recording order would submit the data to SoundExchange, but SoundExchange will not match the SX3 with the SX2. Both will live together in SoundExchange database. So as the sound recording owner or the performer, you have to claim both the SX2 and the SX3 to make sure that all the data will be distributed to you. Also, when you make some, I didn't mention it before, but when you make some search into a database, I will always suggest you to make some deliberate mistakes sometime in your artist name, because the reason why the match has not been made yet with your repertoire, it's maybe because the data received from the radio by the Right Society have some mistakes. So you have to think about what are the possible mistakes in my artist name or the title of my track that could explain the reason why I didn't receive my money yet. So I make a deliberate mistake by typing Carly Rae Jepsen, because the real name is Carly Rae Jepsen, to see if there any money on the table for that artist, because it's not has been claimed. So I put Carly Rae Jepsen, and we see that there's one track, Call Me Baby Nightcore Star Remix, that the satellite radio put Carly Rae Jepsen. So if I'm representing that artist, I will never receive the money from that track if I never type her name with a mistake. So these are some tips when you when you make some search in database. And don't forget that SoundExchange, for the performer's rights, the artist right is only representing the featured artist. But as you may guess, there's also non-featured artists on the track. How are they paid? The Right Society is called AFM and SAG-AFTRA Fund. So let's rewind a few. So in Canada, ACTRA, MROC, ARTISTI, and Resound represent both the featured artists and the non-featured artists. But in the United States, they are two separate right society. So if you decide to opt out United States from your MROC registration to directly register with SoundExchange, it means that you also have to register with AFM-SAG-AFTRA, because MROC will no longer claim your royalty to AFM-SAG-AFTRA as a non-featured artist. You decide to opt out the territory of United States to manage it on your own. So the way AFM and SAG-AFTRA Fund is working, SoundExchange take the decision to pay all the spin on satellite radio. But AFM and SAG-AFTRA Fund made a census of what's played on the satellite radio, and they will only pay the musician and the backup singers, the non-featured artists, that sang or played on the sound recording on his census. So the census, all the track, the eligible list is listed on AFM and SAG-AFTRA Fund website. So is afmsagaftrafund.org. After that, when you arrive on the website, you click on SR on the top of the left. After you click on coverage recording, and you will see all the track eligible for royalty for the non-featured artists. After that, you make some research, you type the recording on which you played as a non-featured artist. And if you see one of your track there, you fill out the documentation, and AFM-SAG-AFTRA will be responsible to distribute you the money. As I said, if you're with MROC, ACTRA, ARTISTI, or Resound for a worldwide mandate, you don't need to register with AFM and SAG-AFTRA Fund, as you don't need to register with SoundExchange. These rights society will collect your royalty in the US as they will do for all the other countries in the world. So that's it for my webinar. I know there was a lot of information, so I would like to thank Music Calgary to have this idea to pre-record the webinar, so we have time to pause and double check on your account in every right society to double check everything at the same time that I mentioned it during this webinar. I hope to see you on Saturday for the live Q&A. So if you have any question, just listed, we will talk about it during the live Q&A. Or if there are any other question, you will have my email. I should have shown you for the end of my presentation. So here how to join me by email, phone number, Facebook, or LinkedIn. If you have any question after this webinar and the live Q&A, it will be a pleasure for me to work with you or answer some of your questions. So have a nice day and see you on Saturday for the live Q&A.